Welcome everyone. It is a nice day. I'm surprised you're indoors, but thank you for showing up. So the title of my presentation this time is Precious Metals, the Blockchain, a Banking Game Changer, question mark. Is it? How many here in the audience own Bitcoin, own any cryptocurrency recently? Okay. Good. So, before I go into what I see for the future of precious metals combined with cryptocurrencies, and I may or may not be right, I want to discuss what's been going on lately. All those that raise their hand are well aware of it, and many of those that are in the audience are probably also well aware of it. But we have been in a rather huge uptrend. It's called a parabolic move in the commodity circles in all cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin being the most established, most known, and probably best understood of all of them. And this, I took this image off the internet, public domain, and it shows Bitcoins, which really are electronic platform only. There is no such thing as a physical Bitcoin that you can put on your hand on. And with the little tulips off to the side, which is the implication that perhaps the Bitcoin situation could be in a tulip bulb type of mania. Now, I think the most important thing that I can say about this situation right here is the fact that not only are we going parabolic, but the volume. How many here are paid members of the Morgan Report? So, do I emphasize volume when I do my videos? Every time, right? If it's not on volume, it's really not that meaningful. So when you see an up move like we have in the price of Bitcoin and the volume at the bottom scale, that's very, very significant. And what that means is that as high as that parabolic move is right now, from what I know and all my experience, it's going a lot higher. And it's probably going to continue on a parabolic move for a while. So the tulip bulb, if you don't know, was really the first financial mania in recorded history. They actually had futures in tulip bulbs. And at the top of the market, one tulip bulb was the equivalent of a skilled craftsman working for 10 years. Can we say overvalued? And I say that to say this, that, you know, when these markets become a mania, there's no telling how high is high. Again, I just want to reemphasize, as much as that stock chart that I showed you just a minute ago shows going parabolic, based on the volume, we're not near the top as far as I can tell. Now, this is the chart of the tulip bulb mania, and you can see most of it took place in 1 year. And I'm not sure I've got the ability to do a laser pointer here, but if you just imagine I have a laser pointer, I'd be pointing about 1/3 up that great big parabolic rise, that hockey stick, if you will. And that would be my estimation of where we are in the Bitcoin world right now, as far as price. And I'm not going to give you a price. I don't know. The market knows. The market always knows more than any analyst. The point I'm making is that if you go a lot higher in a short amount of time, does that mean you should get in or out? I'll leave that decision up to you. I'm going to continue on with my premise about where I see a marriage between the two potentially taking place. So that's a little bit better curve as far as how it lasted. What you can see is at the top, it was about a year long, so we're only looking at 120 days of that year or more market. But you can see it actually went parabolic up to about the 150 level. Then it actually continued up slowly for 60 days or so. And then once it peaked, it started coming down rapidly. And it basically did a U-turn. I mean, at the time that the tulip bulb mania ended and it was no longer mania, a tulip bulb sold for what it always sold for. So it did a complete back and forth. Another reason I know that we're not near the top of the Bitcoin market is when you have somebody like Mark Skousen, who says he's an Austrian economist, state is Bitcoin entering a new megatrend, and he's forecasting yes, and he could be right. I'm not saying that we aren't going higher. I think I've said that about 6 times. But I'm not that willing to jump on it with both feet. I've nothing against it. I wrote one article on Bitcoin. It's called My 2 cents, or My 2 bits about Bitcoin. Those in the silver world know what 2 bits is. It's a 25-cent piece. And again, a lot of people are coming into this, bringing new buyers in, and new buyers are going to drive the price up higher. So, I have a very strong opinion. It's a researched opinion. It's not based on what I feel. It's based on what I've researched. And there's a huge problem really throughout the internet. It's not just cryptocurrencies. So please take it in the big framework of the internet at large, or big data, if you will, or the internet of things, and take that internet of things down to cryptocurrencies, which fit into that big frame. So I'm not picking on cryptocurrencies. I'm talking about the internet at large. And the big problem is security. If you study this with any kind of diligence at all, you will find is that every major leader in the space, be it CNET, be it Wired Magazine, be it Bill Gates, Bill won't say it, but several of that ilk that are at the top, speaking in platforms like this to mega people, because let's face it, the internet's where it's at. IT is number one. Everything's off a small computer, which we call a smartphone. Every one of them, to a man and woman, says security is a problem. And it is. The hackers are outdoing the non-hackers. In other words, the security professionals are not able to keep up with what the hackers are able to do. And we've already seen that happen again and again and again, and it's going to happen more and more. It's a war out there. It's a cyber war. There's cyber war going on constantly that people are totally unaware of, nation state to nation state. And that's just at the top level for sensitive information, basically dealing with nation state security and the war efforts. Not to mention what I'm mentioning, which is the hacking that goes on in, let's say, at the retail market, where we're looking at, the Amazon type of transaction, or cryptocurrencies, or a way of saving wealth, or a bank account, or a brokerage account, or any of that stuff. We're all vulnerable to it. Just one. I was going to pull off about 3. I thought 1 was adequate. But Bitcoin price crashes after exchange admits security breach of over 60 million stolen. Okay, this has already happened, so I've got experiential evidence to back up my case. And I think it will happen more and more in the future. So I know that, and Jeff Berwick said, very low key, I'll walk by as he's speaking. And if you haven't looked at Bitcoin, give it a look. I'll say don't. I'm free market. If you want to load up on Bitcoin, be my guest. What I am cautioning everyone about is that the internet is not as safe as you have been led to believe. I really want you to walk out of this room knowing that. If you've learned anything from these 20 minutes, you've got to learn that. And again, I want to emphasize, it's not that I'm picking on Bitcoin. It's the Internet of Things. At this conference I was referring to a moment ago, one of the people that was an IT specialist said that already built, this is all news to me, by the way, already built into refrigerators that were made from like 2010 on, have already got the chip or the software hardware in them that can connect to the internet. So your refrigerator is going to help you buy your milk when you run out, already can spy on you. Another example was a gentleman sitting as, I think he was one of the CEOs of a new automobile company, it wasn't Tesla, was sitting while the technician had a laptop, and the laptop computer guy took complete control of the car. Complete control of the car. This is what we're up against. So the main thing that we offer with the hard money camp, the gold and silver alone camp, is it's a trust issue. If you don't trust government, if you don't trust fiat money, if you don't trust the central bank to manage the money supply efficiently and well and in an honest way, the only thing that people have trusted for the last 4,000 years or so have been the precious metals. It becomes a confidence or a trust issue. So when you have something that you aren't sure you can trust, such as an electronic platform, and something that has been trusted for a very, very long time, like gold and silver, is there a solution? And I propose that there could be. I'm not saying there would be. I'm saying there could be. So full disclosure, I am engaged on a, let's say, at a think tank basis. I don't want to get my ego too big here. As a consultant, to look at the possibility of a hybrid system which would use physical gold and silver, primarily gold, in a hybrid system where the gold was separated from the banking system, and the only thing that was in that high-tech security problematic situation is the transaction itself. So I'm going to digress. I'm going to talk about the gold and silver debit card that was started by my friend in Spokane, Washington. Does anybody in this room besides me own that debit card? One in the back, okay, and David has it too. So this is a system where you deposit gold and silver with the depository, and that backs your debit card. You also have a cash side that is just like any debit card anywhere. But let's just say that you bought silver at 10. And you put your money into the depository. And I'm not suggesting all of your silver or gold, just a portion. It's very easy to spend because to the vendor, they don't know the difference. You just pull out your card, you swipe it through at Walmart or the gas station or a restaurant. I eat out a lot, I'm single, and they don't care. And it gets debited out. But what the important point is that the metal is in a depository that's arm's length from the bank. So as a tremendous example, a horrific example, there's a bank run, there's a bank failure, there's an electronic problem, and the banking system fails for a month or a week or 10 minutes. The gold and silver are separate from it. Nothing happens. And that's the kind of proposal that I want to make into this realm, is where the deposit of the metal is separated from the transaction side. So the only thing that's at risk is if you make a $100 transaction in silver through a cryptocurrency, that's what's risk, but your 100 ounces of whatever metal is not at risk. This could take place in Indonesia. Indonesia is where I am being asked to help think this through. First of all, if you go to Indonesia and learn something about it, and I know very little, so please don't ask me a lot, I'm still learning and studying. But, it's a huge population. Half the population is under 30 years old. Only 10% are on the tax rolls. They don't want to start a bank account, yet they all, A-L-L, all own gold. And the way they transact in gold is every time they need to borrow money for whatever purpose, just like these payday loans that you see all over the place, is they go into a state-run pawn shop. They put up their gold earrings or necklace or coin or whatever. They get the equivalent amount less the pawn shop's holdings, so like 80% of the value, given to them as a loan, and they do with it whatever purpose they need it for. And then they come back and they pawn it back. So the infrastructure is already set up, but what the government of Indonesia wants, and this gentleman that contacted me, is to make that platform where a smartphone does the transaction. And they're not even going to tax it. They are and they aren't. They're not going to use the word tax. They're just going to have a transaction fee. So the government's involved in every transaction. They're going to take a little bit of that gold for everybody that uses that platform. So that's what we're working on. I think that's more viable as far as having the real backing to an electronically based currency. Because my biggest fear in electronically based currency is counterparty risk. Who is it at the other side of that electron stream that owns that cryptocurrency? What is the real value behind it? Do you know who they are? What's the ability to create them out of thin air? Is it the same as the Federal Reserve? I know Bitcoin is limited, I know that. Are all of them? Who determines the market? You know, there's a lot of questions I still have about, you know, the cryptocurrencies in general, but I'm not an idiot. I can see the direction that everything's moving. Everything is moving to, you know, real time, really quick. The Internet of Things is not going away. It is the way of the future, and I'm trying to be what I've always been. You know, my mission statement is to teach and empower people to understand the benefits of an honest monetary system. And for me, that's something that you can trust throughout the ages. Doesn't mean it has to be a gold standard only. I'm already willing to move into this type of a situation. And the market will determine if it's a good idea or I'm full of it. You know, maybe I'm full of it. Maybe, first of all, is it going to be implemented? The answer to that is I'm not certain. It could be, certainly working on it. But will it happen? I don't know. I think someone will do it. And it's not going to be just me. I'm working with others, of course. But 50% under 30, I mean, if these people can sign up over their phone and get an account the next time they walk into a pawnbroker, and now they can leave it with him or her or the establishment and not have to come back, think of that. I mean, this thing could explode really, really rapidly. It's not like you have to sell them gold. They already own it. It's been in their DNA for generations. So, as I said, it's already been done with the debit card that I outlined. It's just one notch up, putting it on a smartphone platform or the equivalent. And now I want to talk a little bit about what we do that's a little different than some of the other newsletter types. Basically, people always ask, well, how do you invest? Well, you get to see it. I mean, what I put in the marketing report is what I do. It's not like I have some other system or some other way, or, you know, you see my time and you hear me speak and I show you why. I mean, you know, Peter's been with me for years. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, big money goes into big companies. You know, our approach is one that is tested, tried, and true, because, you know, cheap stocks are cheap for a reason. You know, penny stocks are into pennies for a reason. Do pennies become dollars? Yeah, about every 1 out of 4,000 or so. You know, most of the time there's a lot of dilution, a lot of times they fail. You know, if you want to make serious money, you put serious money into serious companies. If you want to speculate, then speculate. I do both. I teach both. But if you think you're going to make big money putting lots of money in penny stocks, good luck. We try to mitigate the risk. And the way we do that, again, is by looking at what's profitable. Let's face it, if you're a gold mine, you mine gold. It doesn't matter if it comes from the moon, Zimbabwe, South Africa, or Montana. It's the same element. So what you got to figure out is who makes the most money with that product. It's not like Rice Krispies versus Cheerios. I mean, it's gold. So to find that out doesn't take a lot of work. The streaming companies are the ones that make the most money. That's why, you know, Franco-Nevada, one of my long-term holdings, compounds at 20% every year. And if you follow my timing service, you can make 40% writing covered calls on it. Let someone else rent your stock from you. These are the kinds the institutions hold. These are the kind that people that money hold. And then maybe you want to speculate in one of these companies out here. That's fine. Maybe take what you rented your stock for a month in Franco-Nevada and plug it into one of the juniors that you like. You know, I'm okay with that. I'm just teaching you what I do. But if you want to go broke fast, do what I did between age 20 and 27 and listen to every story stock out there and put all your money into every junior you ever heard of that's going to make you rich. You'll find out how rich you'll get. So, we have our limited opportunity. I'll be at the booth after this conference. If you're here at the conference and you act within 30 days, you know, kind of free trial. By the way, you know, if I don't like it, we'll give you your money back. You know, I'm not here to rip off anybody. You know, it's that's not for everyone. Believe me, it's not for everybody. If you've never bought a newsletter before, don't. You know, you have free choice. You know, we'd like you to choose us. It's free will. I believe in free markets. But it's your free will to determine if it's right for you. And I honor that because it's important. It's important for you to know that. So I'm done. I'm sure there'll be more questions. I'll be at booth 107. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, David.